So this is like kind of breaking news on this Tuesday, May 12th. Charlie XCX just released a new song. I keep on thinking about you every single day and night. What's interesting about this is that she exclusively released it on vinyl and Instagram, skipping streaming platforms entirely. I don't think I've ever heard of an artist releasing a song exclusively on Instagram. And what this looks like, she just like shot a very like lo-fi music video with her friend and just posted it to her Finsta account. And it's very fun. And she says in the caption, she gives her audience permission to rip the audio and like put it on YouTube or Spotify if they want to. But she is exclusively posting this, streaming this on Instagram. And if you really want to buy it, you have to buy her vinyl. And it's kind of like, I think it's like a fun meeting of two different worlds, like Instagram, the very online social media, and then vinyl and like physical media. It's interesting. Do you guys have any thoughts?
It's very interesting. I mean, I love Charlie. I
Mhm.
know, did she release a whole new album last week?
She is released a single last
Yes, rock
week.
music.
Yeah,
And
rock
I know
music.
that's been trending on TikTok. And
Mhm.
so, like, this was a fast follow and a very cool dissemination method. Charlie XCX is such a child of the internet. Like, even the XCX in her name is from her, like, username way back in the day. And so I think this is a very cool way to distribute something in a way that feels very now and current, but is also very nonchalant in a way that is like a little bit performative, but still cool, which is like her whole thing of like, I'm being a little bit performative, but I'm cool. So I'm getting away with it. And so I think it's very on brand. I feel like I've been more into the marketing of her current era than the actual songs themselves.
Mhm.
But I'm hoping that they grow on me because I'm a big fan of Charlotte.
Is that her name, Charlotte?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I just had a thought. And I
And
was like,
everyone's been calling her that lately for some
oh,
reason.
again, I love that.
Like, in the fandom, people have been calling her Charlotte, so
I feel like I'm not like a tier one fan, but like I am a fan. And I am also just generally a fan of people playing with digital mediums also and like getting creative with them. And I feel like anybody who's at like a certain level of fame, like Charlie XCX is, it's interesting and it's like fun. Like thanks for mixing it up, like
yeah.
Mhm.
um, there's obviously like formulas for how to release music. And I think that this is sort of a fun way to sort of, like, yeah, let's performative for what it is, but like, rip it. Like let's, like it, I mean, in so many words, how much more could you encourage like people on TikTok to like just tear it apart and make it go viral? And I think like the timing is really interesting. Like obviously, like, she really owned Brat's summer, now is like we're heading into summer. So like maybe this is her sort of attempt at like to try to get Song of the Summer again.
I've
Um,
been doing some research into Song of the Summer, over the
so I love that.
weekend and basically looking at historical data, the Song of the Summer has usually been released by the end of May, and, like, at the
Mm,
latest, like, June 20th. So, like, this is the time. Like, everybody who's
this is yeah.
making singles right now, they're competing for Song of the Summer, and so I have been super tuned into that, but I also have noted that a lot of the times the song of the summer has already been released by this time of year, especially recently. So that'll be interesting. And then there's the Billboard song of the summer. And then there's like the TikTok song of the summer, the Spotify song of the summer. So it's like depending on which platform you subscribe to, there's different songs of the summer. So I could see her making a real play for TikTok song of the summer.
Totally.
Interesting. And I wonder, she's like the static. She's only released two songs so far from her like new upcoming era. And the aesthetics are very different from Brad's. It's very like grunt. I mean, it's like rock. What people, one of her controversial lines is, "I think the dance floor is dead, so we're making rock music."
Oh,
Um, which is like, I mean, Brat was like all dance and like hyper pop.
I will say though that I found that interesting because that was something that Charlie was frustrated with at our concerts that people weren't dancing enough. Like I was at one of her LA shows and she was like multiple times like, "Come on guys, you're at a concert. Move around, put the phones down." So I really think it's interesting that like she means it when she says that. You know, she's not just being hyperbolic or trying to be salacious or just trying to be provocative. She's like, "I went out and I played dance music and you guys refused to dance. So I'm doing rock instead."
So this is what you get. No more brat summer for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
What are
And
other well, I was gonna say, yeah, Megan, as you're looking in a song of summer,
Mhm.
are there
I have
other
a
songs that
early
are yeah.
prediction of, like, what I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Her by Ella Langley. Do you guys know that song?
oh, I
I just
know
wanna be her
Ella.
so bad, be her so bad, be
Mhm,
her. Yeah. So she
Right.
also has a song, Choose in Texas. Have you heard of that?
mhm.
He's
No.
choosing Texas, I can
It's
tell.
very,
Oh.
big with the
I knew you would know once I said that part because
if
it's
you're,
very
like, on
distinct.
TikTok, then you know her even if you don't recognize her name. Like
Exactly. So I think Choose in Texas is huge and everyone likes it. It's like it has earworm status. Like I
mhm,
like that song and like I've heard she's problematic in ways that I would normally like boycott an artist, but I've been listening to it. And Be Her is a lot like Choose in Texas, like musically, melodically, it sounds pretty much the same, but it's different and it's just so TikTokable. Like the lyrics are like, she drinks wine by the glass, not by the bottle, and like things that I just could see people doing in their TikToks to this song. And so that's my prediction that it'll be Her by Ella Langley. But I reserve the right to switch it until end of the month when we release our official predictions on Cool Shiny.
Oh, I
um
love what a teaser.
I think you're right, Megan. I agree with you on the Ella Langley of it all. I'm not a country music person, with the exception of the Chicks and Casey Musgraves. Um, I just like listened to Golden Hour on the bus yesterday, all the way through for like the first time in 2 years. It was great. But she is all over my TikTok For You page with, interestingly, like a lot of men. I feel like equal amounts of men and women, like young men and young women, streaming
Mhm,
her music. And I feel like she has a very strong, like, visual brand. I've seen a few of
mhm.
her TikToks. She does like a lot of vlogs of like behind the scenes and like the country music awards. She like has the Sabrina Carpenter bangs.
More than that. She's
Yeah.
got, like, a bang.
Yeah, a
Like
bang. She's like
Singular.
ripped
no,
out.
it's
She's got
like, you know how they say in the UK, they say fringe?
Yeah.
This is not fringe. This is, like, straight up just, like, bang. It
Oh.
looks great.
Oh, I
yeah,
like it.
she
Yeah.
looks
She's
great.
rocking it,
She
but
wears
it's
a
a
lot of
heavy bang.
she wears a lot of turquoise jewelry. She's almost always got a fringe on of some sort, and I think, like, she is similar to, like, when Casey Musgraves came out, she's, like, a brunette country singer, so she automatically stands out from, like, the sea of blondes, so I feel like she'll be one.
And I think she wants it. I think she'll be out pushing the song. I think she'll say yes to every opportunity she's given. She collabed with Morgan Wallen, and Morgan Wallen had the song of the summer like several times over the past 5 years. So that shows that she's like, that's the goal. That's the goal now. Um, um, so I think she's going for it, and I think the song has what it takes. Like I like it. It's fun to listen to. It's fun to sing along to, and so that's my pick. Emma, have you listened to Casey's new album?
Not yet.
I
I'm
think
like
you'll like it.
I definitely will. I don't know why. It, like, takes forever for me to listen to, like, new music from artists that I really love, and
Yeah,
I know I'm gonna like it. I'm just being lazy about it for some
that
reason.
makes sense.
Um, the last thing I want to talk about while we're on this, like, Charlie Finsta topic, I discovered another celebrity Finsta account, like, organically on my For You page last week, and I wonder if they're, like, kind of making a comeback. It was, Devin Lee Carlson's, who's, like,
Oh,
ultimate.
send that to me. I want to see.
I'll send it to you. It's, at Heavenly on Instagram,
Do you
and
think she's launching a sleepwear brand?
I don't know. He's like, wanna say the account she's been posting for maybe 2 months max. And when I discovered it on my Explore page, she wasn't showing her face, but because I've been watching Devin on YouTube for 10 plus years, I was like, "That's like, I recognize that bag." I was like, I
Interesting.
recognize the house, and it just, like, felt it was her aesthetic, and if you follow her, she has, like, a very distinct aesthetic and style, and I wanna say in the past week and a half, she's finally started to show her face on the account, and it has since blown up. Um, but I wonder if, like, that's a new, like, pathway for launching something like Insta, and then you slowly, like, show your face.
Yeah, I feel like the, Instagram wipe strategy is played out. Like, "Oh, I'm wiping my Instagram for a new era." Not that you still can't do it, but in order to actually make buzz and make
Yeah.
headlines, you have to do something a little bit more than that. Zara Larsson also makes a lot of fake TikTok accounts. Like, she'll make a fake TikTok account,
Mhm.
and then, like, the fans will find it, and then she'll make a new one. So it's
I think
definitely
it's
something that's
really
happening.
fun. Yeah, I think
Mhm,
that's cool. I mean, again, it's that same it's like talking to everyone and no one at the same time. Like, some of those
Mhm.
accounts are so big, and, like, we always talk about how, like, the relevancy of followers and, even last week, like, some of our clients were seeing, thousands drop from their, follower count on Instagram. You go on Reddit, oh, they're clearing bots. It's just like that whole culture is totally, like, feels archaic. I also
mhm.
think that there's, like I've never been a fan of, like, the wipe the Instagram page for a launch. Like, I hate that.
You're like, "All my hard work down the drain."
I know. I think it's like my Virgo, like, I like the archive of content. I like building a living archive. It's like a living library of stuff, and so, like, to just feel so, like, pointless. One thing I did wanna say, though, separately, by the way, while you
Mhm.
guys were talking, I looked up, like, the Charlie XCX stuff, and the New York Times had actually they just did, like, top songs that they were looking at. I thought this was sort of interesting. So, like, first quote is exactly I think, Emma, you said or one of you guys said, "We're on to the next. I think the dance floor is dead," she declared, right? So now we're making rock music. And then it goes on, it says it's her latest post-Brat position statement, complete with distorted guitar chords through a continuous pulsing looping sample and hyper pop vocal effects, still give it an electric feel. So, what that's literally I'm making music for the internet. And then she sings about rock as headbanging, stage diving, self-harm. It's the only way to feel something, hurt yourself. Let's hope for minimal damage before she's on to the next phase. I also think it's sort of interesting too, like this idea of like feeling something and like human experience and like in this really like anxious AI time frame we're
Mhm.
in. It's like she's literally like like just it made me like as you were saying, Megan, like she was telling her audience to dance and they weren't dancing. So now she's like, no, now you're gonna do something even more dramatic. You know what I mean? Like I want you to feel something. Like she's literally like saying it in her
Yeah,
music. Anyway, just
yeah,
wanted to bring it back to that. It was interesting.
very
I
interesting.
will say I feel like her song rock music, I've seen a lot of people, like, it's been very mixed, like, reception, at least on my feeds of, like, whether people like the song or not, but all the repetition and, like, the beats, it's very conducive to, like, video edits, and I've seen a lot of
Yes.
people, like, making memes and, like, editing their videos to the sound and, like, the repetition in her videos, so it's funny, it's like, even though people aren't loving the song, they're, like, still posting about it. Um
Yeah. And even that vocal distortion part on the rock, I feel like is going to become a thing that we'll see in memes and music going forward of that particular vocal distortion with different words.
It'll be interesting. It's similar vibes to, Slater, who we covered,
Yes,
um, in Ones to Watch Before Coachella, and she blew up Coachella
she
weekend,
did.
so
You really called that one, Emma.
pat on the back. I'm very excited.
Pat on the back.
I'm giving myself a pat on the back. Somebody's gotta do it. And I'm excited. I'm gonna be seeing her at Met Fall in, like,
Ooh.
3 weeks. But she dresses kind of Western to, like, Ella Langley, and her music is very hyper pop, but rock elements to it. So yeah, I wonder if it's like like an anxious reaction. And interesting to hear Charlie say like about like self-harm. It's kind of like our we know scrolling is so bad for us, but we do it anyway. And I feel like it's like very now. Like
That is interesting.
and
Mhm.
like smoking is back in, like we know these things are bad for us, but we don't care. We just want to feel something.
We just wanna
Um,
feel something. And Megan's, like, our the American comfort with addiction.
mhm.
Yeah, that too. But Charlie's not American.
Oh, that's true, duh. Oh my gosh.
So she's bringing a European sensibility of
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
we're all gonna die. Do it anyways.
Bang, we're all gonna die. Um, okay, so next topic, I wanted to talk about Megan sent this one in. And Bumble will be getting rid of their swiping feature this year. So their CEO just did an interview with the Axios show. Obviously, like, they're doing a relaunch, refresh in Q4 of this year, and they'll be replacing the swipe. She didn't say what they'll be replacing it with, what they'll be doing. That's new, but, that was the big headline coming out of the interview. Obviously, like, AI powered. She was talking about a lot of AI. Um, and also, another headline that came out of this, Bumble has kind of distinguished itself from the other dating apps that it was women first. So, like, women send the first message, women have all the power, women make the first move, and they will also be dropping that feature, which is interesting. And really wanted to call this out because Megan did a piece for us last year, Swipe Science, how dating apps rebrand themselves again and again.
Such a
Um,
good piece. Oh my
Such
gosh.
a good piece. And Megan, do you want to like talk a bit about that and like what your headline was coming out of it? Because I thought it was so smart.
Yeah, so I remember I think we released this around Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah.
I always try to find something timely to write about for you guys that ties to like the calendar. And basically, I believe what we did with this was we took a look at all of each brand, each dating app brand, their most recent marketing campaigns, and then also their thought leadership reports, because all of these brands release thought leadership reports to kind of get
Mhm.
a sense of like how they were approaching dating. And the reason why I always like to look at this is because dating apps are on the cutting edge of things just based on the user base that they're dealing with. They're dealing with usually young single people who are very online and therefore expect an experience that's like matches what they're getting elsewhere. So by looking at what these dating apps are doing, you could kind of see where the customer is at. And I think Bumble has always been so interesting to me because in gender like sociology and anthropology, we talk about how masculinity is problematic because it's only been created in opposition to femininity. Like being masculine is just not being feminine. And I feel like Bumble is in a similar crisis in that their whole thing was just, we're not Tinder. Like the
Mhm.
whole brand was created around this idea of like, you don't like Tinder, come to Bumble. And I feel like they have yet to find an identity outside of that, and the woman first thing was the thing that they had going for them. And so to completely ditch that, I think is actually a little bit short-sighted because while it may better reflect w- the behavior and what people are looking for from dating apps in general, I think it also gives up what Bumble had as their unique edge.
Mhm. You're totally hit the nail on the head that I feel like Bumble has always had a bit of a chip on its shoulder. And like the lore behind this is their CEO, Whitney Wolf Hurd, was a co-founder of Tinder. And she was their former VP of marketing. And I think she was kind of pushed out. And as a result of that, she started Bumble. And like it was, the only dating app that had a female like founder and CEO. Um, and it's interesting in the Axios article, they talk about how women in particular, and Gen Z overall, but Gen Z women are very burned out from dating app culture. And that's maybe been a reason why Bumble has had to pivot.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, among your friends, you guys, like, what are the apps that people are using right now or lack thereof?
We're not using the apps. Me and my friends, we're not dating. But if we were going to use the apps, we would use Hinge.
Yeah.
Hinge.
Hinge is the one. I feel like Tinder is kind of like college. That's
Okay.
what everyone used when I was in college, and I think it's still the case. It's a little more, like, casual.
Yeah.
Um, and then I feel like it used to be pretty even with Bumble and Hinge, and, like, Bumble had Bumble BFF, so, like, people would
Mhm.
make friends that way. But now I feel like in the past, like, year, I wanna say, everyone that is in my circle is basically just using Hinge.
And what is Hinge's thing again? It's like
So
Designed to be deleted.
yeah. They're interesting. They're the one, they launched on Substack where they, like, share, like, true love stories and, like,
oh, right.
on
Okay.
their app. Yeah, they have, like, that video series too. Hinge is interesting. Their whole thing was, like, there never was a swipe feature, so, like, they have profiles, that have, like, their you can customize your profile, similar to kind of like a MySpace page. Honestly, you can talk about, like, your favorite food, like, what your perfect date is, like, any questions, you can do voice notes, and instead of, like, swiping on somebody, you interact with their profile, and you can, like one of their answers, and, like, that'll open up the messaging feature. So I bet Hinge, just based on the questions that they have their users answer, has a ton of data, on everything, like, Gen Z users are consuming right now.
1,000%.
I mean, it's just so interesting, like, that yeah, like, if you are running a dating app, like, what is the future evolution? You know what I mean? I guess there's just this idea that persistently, you know, in, like, coming out of college, like, there's just gonna be this, like, segment of the population that, like, wants to sort of date, and, like, it's like, how do you, like, bring in new people? It's like Gen Z and then Gen Alpha, like, how do you sort of, like, think about this, like, new infusion? And, like, I don't know, it's just a fascinating exercise to think about, like, how do you
I
evolve?
also think that the dating apps are kind of built on top of a culture that's collapsing, whether that's like
Right.
partnering up and getting married or hookup
Mhm.
culture. I think both are not the same as they used to be. And if your goal is to get married, maybe you're going to use a dating app to do that, but then you're done. And then
I
you're off
know,
the app and they
right.
don't have a repeat
Y
customer. So that's been a conversation of like,
Mhm.
are they really trying to help you find love or are they trying to help you find short term relationships so they can continue to have a user base? And that's part of why I'm not on the apps as a
that
woman
is
because it was
dark.
just starting to feel like I'm just like being pimped out. Like you get to show my
Mhm.
profile to whoever you want and like of course the guys are gonna say yes. So it's like, I just get to go on dates who you guys decide gets to date me. Like, I don't really get a choice in the
You
matter.
don't have,
And
like,
it
yeah,
was
autonomy in it.
yeah, it was weird, and I was like, I would rather just go out into the world and meet people that way. It's
Mhm.
safer, and I feel like I have more control over it. And so I don't think that they've done enough to incentivize high quality people to be on these apps to
Yeah.
where they're actually fun anymore, and so it's really just like a transaction, and then that gets really icky.
Yeah,
'Cause it's either like a sex transaction or a marriage transaction, and it's
Icky.
like weird.
It's like the inshittification of dating.
yes. It's so funny. I was, with one of my friends this weekend, and she was like, "Ugh, I have to, like, message this guy back on Hinge." And it was like, "Ugh, this is such a chore that I have to do." Um, and I feel like if I were a dating app, I feel like I mean, we've talked about it with other brands like IRL, people wanna connect with people in person, and I feel like even, scrolling on my TikTok feed, I see that, like, there's so many short form shows now about, like, speed dating or, like, picking out 2 people on the street and, like, sitting them down for like a speed dating round. And there's this guy in New York City who's like kind of doing shows and where he picks out two single people from the audience, blindfolds them, and they're actually like on a blind date on stage, and there's an audience of people watching them.
Oh my god, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, in LA, there's a pitch my friend night that people
Mhm.
go to where it's like you can pitch your friend and then someone in the crowd can be like, "I'll date them."
Yeah, and even, like, now there are running clubs where, like, you come and you wear it's similar to, like, if anyone in college did, like, the red light, green light,
Oh,
yellow
yeah.
light parties, like, you get a name tag and, like or a sticker, and if it's green, that means you're single, and if it's yellow, it means it's complicated, and if it's red, you're taken.
Yeah.
Like
And I think what you're making me see, Emma, is that the dating apps are solving for a problem that doesn't exist and not the problems that actually exist, where it's like it makes it easier to connect with someone. Like it softens the rejection of connecting with people,
Mhm,
but that's all it does. And I think when the only problem, like rejection, like I said, is more of a problem for men than it is for women. I feel like not only like can women take rejection better, but they just don't get rejected as much. And so it's solving for men's egos, but men are increasingly just checking out of dating altogether or have worse egos. And so it's like how are they going to continue to solve for this when like the product is shot, you know?
well, Megan, it's very interesting that you brought up rejection because if anyone else lives in New York, and you take the subways, I have been seeing for the past 6 months, this subway ad, "Rejection is hot," and I've always been like, "What's that about?" And when you said rejection, I Googled it on the side, and it is for, of course, an AI app, that is aimed at fostering in real life connections, and it's encouraging people to go out there in real life and get rejected to their face because it's better than a dating app. It builds character.
I mean, it does. I don't know if like men today though have the skills to deal with it. You know, I feel like that's why I'm
Mhm.
like it's it's more of a skill issue than anything of like you need to be able to take rejection and move on without it being a whole thing where now you hate women and like they all deserve to like die alone because the one you liked when you were in 8th grade didn't like you back, you know?
I know, there's, like, a very real tension between, like, the genders right now in the dating field, so much misalignment with, like, expectations and, like, wants out of a relationship, and I know it's been, like, talked a lot about, like, there's a huge political divide between Gen Z men and Gen Z women, and I think, like, the dating apps are, like, very stumped on how to navigate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I still sorry. I still want the Black Mirror episode Hang the DJ, where it's like, I have an AI that like is me, you have an AI that's you. They date each other, and if that works out, then they introduce us to each other, and then we'll talk. But I'm not going to waste
Well,
my time. How is your day? How many siblings do you have? Blah, blah, blah. You know, like let the AI do it.
somebody is coding that right now.
No, I'm pretty sure Bumble. Like, I'd sign up for that if I don't have to do the legwork and it's just like I'm gonna get an email being like, "All right, I spent 3 weeks chatting to this guy's AI. We like him for these reasons, and you can give him a chance." Like, that's better to me. Like, if I can vet my own matches, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's so right. I feel like with the dating apps, a problem is like it feels like there's a lot of wasted time because you're not there's so much like vibes in person, like energy, and like you
Like,
just
even if
aren't
you go on a bad date in person, it can like, we're not bad, but, like, if you go on a date where you don't like them in person, it's still fun. You still went and did something fun, even if you're never gonna see them again, but if you, like, have the same conversation you've had via an app for the 100th time, it's just that's just a time suck, and you're just working for Bumble at that point.
well, it'll be interesting to see what they do, and maybe they are Great. Working on AI
But then
apps.
it's like, but then I'm gonna be like, okay, but are there men who are just like having fun talking to my chatbot? And I like now Bumble's making fun of like now Bumble's making money off of like my chatbot because like that's
I
all
know.
they just want text back. Like, because that's the thing too. Sometimes people join dating apps for attention. And so
Mhm.
it's like if you could just get that attention hit artificially through AI, like will they even need to go on the actual date? I don't know.
Well,
I feel like
mm,
it's a deeper, yeah, like psychological exercise in trying to better understand like what people want. Um, because you're right, like again, and I'm just speaking from the perspective of someone who's been married for 10 years. So like I'm not I feel like I'm not like at all well informed on this, but like yeah, like if the goalpost has moved, if people are not necessarily seeking like you know, nuclear family and
mhm,
like marriage and kids and all of that, um what is it? Yeah, like trying to better understand what is it that people do want and like how do you solve for that? And so like maybe it's not dating at all. You know, like maybe it is much more about like more of a shift toward human connection and
mhm,
like and again, trying to help better connect people who want to have like authentic relationships and stuff, you know, in a variety of things. I mean, I
mhm,
think you hit on it with Bumble BFF. I think that like the reason where people feel motivated, I think, to pay is because they have like a vision and they want this app to solve for that for themselves in order like they're trying to fulfill this like vision of themselves and like that is the component that is needed for that. And I think where the question lies, it's like in some of these relationships, whether it is a best friend or it's, you know, plutonic or whether I don't know what it is, like, can you compel people to pay? Um, and maybe, and again, maybe the transaction is not even like it's just it does feel like a moment where everything should maybe go into a room and like turn it on its head, you know? Like,
Yeah. I also it just gets so tricky too because it's like what they charge for, the features that they charge for on dating apps, essentially their purpose is to give you access to people who you might like better and then also to help you better avoid rejection. So it's like if you pay, then you'll get to like see your matches beforehand. And like if you pay, we'll give you access to a different tier of people. So it's like this weird thing where like they're putting access to people who you might be interested in romantically and sexually behind a paywall, and that just gets so weird from, like, a product like, what is the product here? Like, they say it's this feature, but really, what is the product here? You know? And
totally.
it's strange.
It's yeah. I also think too, it's interesting, like stepping back and it's like if you look at the population of people who do use the apps, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm using this, like you have to believe that at least there's been at least this like, you know, moment where they've tried in person and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So like now you're sort of you've already filtered out part of the population of like so the people who are on there have sort of gone through this like at least one experience or like, you know, they've had multiple experiences of rejection or whatever to the point where they're like, I will now pay for a feature to help me. And so it's just like, it's just so like complicated and nuanced. It's like, well, so what was it that prevented you from meeting the people in person? Right. So then you're like, and then to then like tear it out through like paid to like access certain levels of it is like, yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
it feels very dark and it feels very like,
Exactly, yeah. And I
you
think
can
that it would
see
be
why people are like fully rejecting doing that experience.
and
It
I think
feels,
it would be in their best interest to kind of rethink their business model. Like, instead of being like,
yeah,
I think they should think more about, like you said, how can we be a conduit for connecting people? And maybe it's less about matchmaking users together and more about matchmaking these users to businesses. Like, okay, Bumble users going on a date to Chili's will get 50% off this weekend. Like, if you show them that you matched on Bumble, your date's 50% off. Like, whatever it is. Women eat free if you're going to Chili's. Like, drinks, like things like that that will like act more as like fulfill the purpose of connecting and meeting people, but like not putting the cost back on women, essentially, because that's who's bearing the brunt of the costs of these things.
Right. Even if it's the cost of like your
Exactly.
AI,
Your time.
your AI, all of that. I mean, like what we always come back to with digital experiences right now in this current ecosystem too is just IRL. It is true. So I think that, I think that that's a really interesting thing you just posed, right? Like, so it's like, even if you picked a certain location and you threw it out there and this is like like let organic human interaction happen in a like it's like controlled chaos, right?
Yeah. Or even
Like
if they had like a concert series. Everywhere in LA has a concert series for the summer. If they had the Bumble concert series where it's like your match and you get to go to this concert for free. All you have to do is show us your match at the door. Like things like that, that would just like incentivize the behavior of participating in the app ecosystem versus like microtransacting every single thing and every
Mhm.
single experience in a way that makes it feel so icky.
you know what is I would plus one to all of this. We have to pull this out, Emma. Like dear dating apps, like, hey, here's your notes. But what you just reminded me of might be the segue into the next topic, which was monetizing every single transaction. Who did that the worst? Spirit Airlines. They were like,
True.
"You wanna sit
You're
here?
so right.
You wanna be able to, like, open your tray table?
A
Oh,
thousand
you wanted to
percent.
carry a purse on the plane. Oh."
That was
And how'd
actually
that turn out for them?
Well,
yeah,
no, it is part of the enshittification process, right? Like, it's this desperation to find revenue streams of, like and it's by, like, creating barriers to entry, like, mini barriers to entry through everywhere. It just feels so disgusting. Um And yeah, and like I think what's I will just say on the dating app thing too, I just think what's really hard is that it plays very deeply with like emotional trigger. You know what I mean? And
1,000%.
I think that that's like the hardest part about it. Like again, as a woman in society, like just the way society has been structured, it's like you have to check boxes, like, and this is the path that has been set. And like, whether it's right or wrong, do we all know? We're all just existing. And so it's such a like messed up psychological system that doesn't feel like, yeah, like I mean, it's like social media platforms, honestly, like another social experiment with lives.
Mhm. I know, and I feel like, that was a good segue, memes, but it's also like I think you're right, it's like a extra sensitive topic, and it's kind of like using Gen Z as guinea pigs, um, for, like, the future of dating, and, I mean, so far, it's not working, and
Yeah.
Gen Z is not connecting with each other. But speaking of Spirit Airlines, so for our final topic, and when we post this on Friday, it will be below our paywall or behind our paywall. So we're going to talk about it live for free here. But if you want to listen back, maybe think about upgrading. Okay. So the big news, obviously, Spirit Airlines was shut down earlier this month, leaving 17,000 employees jobless due to the high fuel costs from the Iran-US war. And there have been a lot of different stories branching out from this big one, but what we're going to talk about today. So now that Spirit Airlines is shut down, the internet is trying to buy it back.